And so I ended up becoming president of that fraternity, and it was my turn to give that talk. And so I go into this freshman dorm room. There's 20 of these guys. They're outnumbering me, right? They're like, well, we don't like you anymore. I'm like, oh. And so I said, I get it, guys. I said, who here thought that this would be easy? No one raised their hand. I was like, who here thought it would be hard? They raised their hands. I was like, this, right now? I was like, this is what hard feels like. You just didn't know what hard felt like. This is what it feels like. Make sense? We just reset reality. This is what hard feels like. You said you expected it to be hard? This is hard. And they all came back. And so right now, everyone's hard's different. But this is what it feels like. There's a level of uncertainty of not knowing whether your actions are going to yield the results that you want, but doing them anyways. Not knowing if you're going to get credit from the market or on your check at the end of the month. And whether this is really the thing that you want to do for the rest of your life. Everyone thinks these questions. But the people who win just continue to do the actions, regardless, which is why I say focus on the activities, not on the inside your ears. You can feel terrible and still win. So that's what hard feels like. So this is one of my favorite Chinese proverbs. Everything must be hard before it can be easy. What makes things hard isn't complexity, it's consistency. As boring as it gets, sometimes you just have to keep doing it before you get anything back. Hard times are opportunities to give yourself proof that even this couldn't stop you. You're going to lose sleep. You'll doubt whether it'll work. You'll stress to make ends meet. You won't finish your to-do list. You'll wonder if you made the right call, and you'll have no way to know for years. But this is what hard feels like. And this is what you signed up for. And that's what makes it worth it. And that is okay. So in closing, said a little Mr. Miyagi. Everyone here knows what to do to win. Do all those things that you wrote down. Make them positive. Cool. Figure out those ways to lose and do the opposite. You know how to do it. Remember, you take those things, chunk them down. Break it down to so small that anyone could do it, even a child. You know why you should be doing it. You have these opportunities that keep presenting themselves. You keep looking at shiny objects. But we get more for what we put in when we stick with things. Wealth is made during the hard times. The few people left standing get the most of it. You create motivation by changing your environment and who you compare yourself to. So you know why you should be doing it, because you get outsized returns for sticking to things. And you already know how to become the person who can win. How do we do that? By doing. Do. Who means do? It's the easiest thing. Who do I want to become? What does that person do? I'll do that. And you know when you should start, which is, if it's not you're really busy right now in this season, it's the best time to start. So if you're waiting until you're less busy to start a new habit or program, it just assumes that you get busy again. You'll stop. If you want enduring change, the best time to start is when you're busy. Learn how to make it work in the worst condition, and it'll stick in the best. You cannot be great unless you have something to test yourself against. Today, these times are opportunities to give ourselves proof of who we really are. And I think that is one of the most motivating things of hard times. Now is the best time. If you don't have time, you're spending it on the wrong stuff. And if you think you need to get in order to do, you have it backwards. So when do you start? The moment you want to be the future version of you. So here's my final reminder. If you take one thing from this presentation, if you do not change, you did not learn. And everyone here has things that they've written down from many of the talks of things that you want to do or want to think about or whatever. I would encourage you to make that a list of things that you will do. And then when you go back to the same condition, your same home, your same house, your same market, your same whatever, you change your behavior. And then that will show that you learned and you took one step to becoming the person that you ultimately want to be.
Look at failure as failure. I look at failure as your first, second, third, fourth, fifth attempt. I look at them as attempts. I don't look at anything as failure. Because when you're willing to try to do something, not trying is failure. I'm going to fucking make myself good enough. And that became my mentality. I'm going to make myself good enough.
like falling off the wagon. I like the idea that the wagon is going and you're either on the wagon or off the wagon, right? And the idea when you fall or you mess up or you make a mistake or you break that promise, like it's still there. Like you can get back on it anytime, right? That's kind of how I think about it. So instead of going, oh, I'm a piece of shit, I'm spiraling, I'm worthless. It's like, no, the thing has continued on. You know, am I going to run and catch up to it? Am I going to start to build those habits again? Or am I going to, you know, write it off because it's not there anymore? Do you know what I mean? I kind of try to think about it that way. It's like, just because I've had a bad week where I was overscheduled or distracted or I was sick or whatever and I wasn't writing, that doesn't mean all is lost. Like, I just have to sit down tomorrow, or better, I have to sit down now and I just have to do a little bit, right? And that's what starts that process again.
Sometimes people will not like you, but you engage with them anyway. That sometimes you will not feel confident, but you do the thing anyway. That sometimes you will not be happy, but you will get out of bed anyway. You decide to accept that most of the things you do in your life will result in failure. And not only is that okay, it's the only way to get back to the surface, to breathe, to do it again.
I would say ask her out. No matter who she is, whether she's a job or a new city or a actual person. You know, whether she's an opportunity or a fear. You know, if you're afraid of heights, ask her out. Hey, heights, what you doing tonight?
You're building the muscle that says, I do what I say, I keep the commitments that I make, or you're building the muscle that says, I make excuses, I don't do what I say, I can't be counted on, right? And so when we think about discipline, it's really about like, what promises are you going to keep? We treat the body rigorously so that it will not be disobedient to the mind. I feel like part of what that is an assertion about who's in charge.
Yeah. I know what's on the back end of fucking quitting. And it's a lifetime of thinking about why the fuck did I do that? And I ain't fucking doing that no more.
Rejections are good for you. Repeatedly risking rejection is one of the fastest ways to build extreme confidence. It's exposure therapy. You do what scares you over and over until it doesn't faze you. Navy SEAL David Goggins says this habit is the key to all of his success.
And that's the key thing. Through repetition of things you don't want to do, you develop mental, like an armor for your mind. A warrior is a motherfucker who says, hey, I'm here again today. I'm here again tomorrow. I'm going to be here the next day. I'm 50 years old. I'm still fucking getting after it. It's a person that puts no fucking limit on what's possible. 90% of your life will suck. 10% will be fucking happy. You may be a lucky guy and have a lot of fucking money, have a great ass woman, all this shit. Trust me, one-on-one with that fucking guy, he's missing something. His life still sucks because he hasn't faced something that bothered him his whole fucking life. Something is still eating that motherfucker up.
Almost everybody.
If you look at anything that builds a man into a man, there's a degree of suffering. It's very hard to become a man and have a man who's respected and has stories and is capable when he only had a nice life and nice experiences.
We are, but you gotta reflect back. Take a couple seconds, reflect. I've been through this, I've been through that. And then remind yourself, I'm a bad motherfucker. And then you can get through that shit. But if you don't believe it, you haven't endured shit, you're just blowing smoke, man.
Right.
And they have these great quotes and shit, but are you living that, motherfucker? What you just quoted and how powerful it may sound, are you getting up every fucking morning? It's not about working out, whatever. Are you really getting the fuck after? Are you just talking to motivate people?
Right.
And I don't want.
I mean, there's two types of time in life, alive time, dead time. It says, what are you going to choose? You're going to live this moment, you're going to kill time, you're going to waste time, you're going to let that time die. Stop wasting time. Stop wasting time focusing on things that are outside your control. Stop wasting time putting stuff off. Stop wasting time caring about what other people think. Stop wasting time regretting the past. Stop wasting time thinking you're going to live forever. Memento mori, life is very short. And to waste it doing any of these things, doing these things that you know you shouldn't be doing, is to reject the gift of life that you have in your possession at this very moment. Live as if you have died and come back to life. Seneca says that if you go to bed every night saying, my life is over, I've lived my life, I went through it all, then when you wake up in the morning, which hopefully you will do after watching this video, it's extra. Prepare for life's setbacks. Premeditatio malorum, this comes to us from Seneca. It really says you could be good today, instead you choose tomorrow. We put it off. We talked about being tolerant with others, strict with yourself. That means not judging. About how people get in our way, how people present obstacles. But he says that in that obstacle, there's an opportunity to actually practice this philosophy that you say you believe, to be good in spite of other people, to be just in the face of injustice, to be temperate in the face of intemperance that's being rewarded, to be courageous when everyone else is being cowardly and being rewarded for it. So for the Stoics, people are frustrating, people are an obstacle, but like all obstacles, they're also the way. That's a challenge we can rise to meet. We can be better for wrestling with other people's difficulties. So don't resent people, use them to become better. You gotta see the good in people. That's an important line. Yes, the Stoics. We can choose to look at something as an obstacle, or we can choose to look at something as an opportunity. We can see chaos if we look close. We can see order if we look from afar.
As soon as you limit yourself to a few things in your life that you truly care about, there's a new form of freedom that happens on a very subtle level, which is that I don't have to give a fuck about this stuff. I don't have to give a fuck about who I'm gonna date. I don't have to give a fuck about what my gaming friends think about me. These are the things I care about. These are the ways I'm gonna measure my life. That's what I'm gonna pursue. And there's just this abundance of inner mental freedom to pursue it.
You win the lottery. You strike it rich, you get recognized, you get an award, you say to yourself, memento mori, remember you will die. You go through shit, you go through trouble. Someone cheats on you, someone betrays you, someone lies to you, someone steals from you, someone gets what you earned, someone gets promoted over you. You say to yourself, memento mori, remember that I will die. You could leave life right now, Marcus Aurelius said. Let that determine what you do and say and think. You get in a fight with your girlfriend or your boyfriend. Your parents say something mean or let you down. Your neighbor pisses you off. You break your leg. You blow out your knee. You fall out of love with someone. You're stressed out by work. Your kids are sick. You say to yourself, memento mori. Life is short. I'm going to die. And what that means is you can't take any of this seriously. You can't let it weigh on you. You can't hold on to it. You can't let it puff you up either. Memento mori. You will die. You can't take any of this with you. It pales in comparison to the idea of eternity. Accept the good things without arrogance and to let the bad things go with indifference. Memento mori, I'm going to die. What does any of this mean? Why am I taking any of it so seriously? Why am I letting it get to me? What's 3 hours here or 3 hours there? Remember, you are going to die. What you do control is whether you waste time getting upset by this, whether you waste time taking it personally. Whatever you're experiencing, whatever you're going through, however awesome your life is, however frustrating it is right now, memento mori. Remember, you will die. This too shall pass. You must not forget that.
Realize in every moment you have a choice to do something or not do something, to blame somebody else or take responsibility yourself. And once you develop that habit or that value of constant responsibility, everything fucking changes. What I point out in the book too is that most people assume that you need motivation to have action, but I point out that it's the other way around. Action actually leads to motivation, and that's the do something principle. Was needed to study for an exam. You know, it was like, all right, well, let's just study this chapter tonight. And I'd study that chapter, and next thing I know, I've studied 3 chapters. And so I kind of just adopted this little mini personal philosophy of like, do something. Just fucking do it. Like, take the smallest thing and do it.
Looking for happiness from our job or our relationship or money or external things. But the gold is already inside of us. It's inside of you. And you just have to look within to bring it out more. And that gold is the present moment. That's everything we want, is right here, right now. This is what you really want at the end of the day.
That enlightenment is within every moment, and salvation is to simply be in the present.
If you're waiting in line or at a stoplight, become intensely aware of the moment you're in. Let go of thought and see things without the filter of your mind. Look at things without labeling or judging them. Now is all there is. Remember, the mind is always trying to escape the now since it has no power here. The mind needs the past and the future, memory and anticipation to exist. It hides from the present. It wants to live in the past and create a story for itself, or it wants to look to the future towards some kind of fulfillment. The moment you realize you're not present, you become present. When you observe it, you're not trapped in it anymore.
Distance yourself from your thoughts a little more and just give it a little buffer period between your thought and not owning that thought, that they're almost like clouds passing in the sky that you're just looking at right there. Like, oh, there's a thought right there. Well, I don't have to own that thought, just like you see it pass by, right? Oh, there's another thought right there. And then ones that do serve you, you're like, oh, that's a cool one right there. Let me look at that deeper, right? So that's kind of thoughts. You'll start to notice that you do this throughout your everyday life, okay?
You want to be quiet in your mind to see where you want to go, because noise is the ultimate kryptonite.
Yeah.
Too much noise in your mind, you're not going to be focused on what the task at hand is.
It's one of the things that
Appreciating beauty and the wonder of the world around us. Going out in nature, it stills you, it calms you down, because you realize how small you are in comparison to the immensity of the universe. We have too much stuff. We wonder why we don't have stillness. We're being encroached by all of our possessions. The stuff we own ends up owning us. But look,
When you move slowly and comfortably in a situation where most people would be stressed, it shows that you don't feel scared or pressured. Being non-reactive shows you feel confident in your ability to handle whatever is happening. It's hard not to respect someone who keeps their cool in situations where most people would lose it. Ability to laugh or even just quietly smile in a situation where other people might freak out screams of self-confidence. You're basically saying, whatever this is I'm facing, I know I'll be okay. Of course, the goal here isn't to fake that you're okay while freaking out on the inside. It's to cultivate a genuinely strong, deep internal confidence. Along with his slow movements, there's a second body language habit you saw that helps Tommy appear confident. Tommy is comfortable holding eye contact, even during conflict. If you want to hold someone's attention, hold their eye contact.
I did get jumped by all 6 of you chumps.
When you share your flaws and they don't embarrass you, it shows massive confidence. You have 2 strong options here. You can say your shortcomings as a joke, like Brad does here, or you can say it as a simple statement of fact with strong eye contact, no stutter, and a downward tone.
I had my ass kicked by a ragged band of elves.
Be as big as your audience. Scale up your hand gestures when you're speaking to more people. By taking up space with your hands while you speak, you signal that even though you're speaking quietly, you deserve to be heard. While you listen, there's a few specific things you can do to project confidence. Lean back, sit asymmetrically, and take up the unoccupied space around you. You see all
because reward does not decrease over time, but your reminder of punishment does. So let me give you a tactical example of this. Have you ever finished a night of drinking and the next morning you say, I'm never gonna drink again? Probably. But then what do you do the next weekend? You drink. Why? Because punishment decreases in its effectiveness over time. You quickly forget and then you do it again. Reward is actually different than that, which is why when you think about a relationship 10 years in the past, you think about all the sweet memories because all of the punishment associated with the relationship disappears. But then you get back in the relationship and you're like, holy cow, I forgot all this crap. And so what happens is
Seneca. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. Being poor is not having too little, it is wanting more. No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself. Everything hangs on one's thinking. A man is as unhappy as he has convinced himself he is. It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. What progress have I made? I have begun to be a friend to myself. If my wealth goes away, it takes with it nothing but itself. Marcus Aurelius. Concentrate every minute on doing what's in front of you. You don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you. The present is all we have to live in, or to lose. The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts. Today, I escaped anxiety. Or no, I discarded it because it was within me, in my own perceptions, not outside. If it's endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining. It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own. It's unfortunate that this has happened. No, it's fortunate that this has happened, and I've remained unharmed. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Everything is born from change. If you don't have a consistent goal in life, you can't live it in a consistent way. Get back up when you fail. Celebrate behaving like a human. Limit yourself to the present. The tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say, or think, or do, only what you do. Don't you see how much you have to offer, and yet you still settle for less? Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been. Epictetus. If you are ever tempted to look for outside approval, realize that you have compromised your integrity. If you need a witness, be your own. How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself?